Nobody wins when the family feels.
Search is continuing for a suspect in a deadly weekend shooting in Westerly.
Police say Louis Sanius Jr. shot his cousin, Vincent Sebastian. Sebastian later died.
And Alex Leslie is live at the Westerly Police Department. Alex, police say the suspect may have crossed over state lines.
Right, witnesses on scene told police that they saw this suspect run into the woods, possibly over the border into Connecticut. That's where police were looking for him on Saturday, but they were unable to track him down. Now neighbors in the area of where the shooting happened say they're feeling anxious until this suspect is found. Westerly police say they were called to Marriott Ave close to 4 Saturday afternoon for a shooting. There they found a man with a gunshot wound to his chest.
We cleared the house immediately. There was 3 children and 2 adults in the house. Also, they were not hurt in any way.
Despite attempts to save the victim, he was pronounced dead 30 minutes later. Police identified the victim as 28-year-old Vincent Sebastian of lled, Connecticut.
I heard a pop, I didn't think nothing of it, and then I seen all these lights.
Mitchell LaFlame lives near where the shooting happened.
It's a little unsettling, knowing that something that happened that close to my house.
Police identified the suspect as 31-year-old Louis Sanius Jr. of Norwich, Connecticut. Later, police learned the victim and suspect are cousins, and the suspect had a child with a female resident at Marriott Ave, where the shooting took place.
The Mashantucket Police Department had a short pursuit with the suspect, to which the suspect fled from a vehicle.
Canine officers responded and began to track the suspect, but were unsuccessful.
I don't know what to do every day now, because if is he gonna come back to town? I don't know what to do or what, me and my wife agreed that our kids won't be playing outside until this is resolved.
Family, we're going to Connecticut. We have the opportunity to talk to a mother of a man who's allegedly responsible for taking the life of his cousin. A man he grew up with, a man he was once indicted with. All over a female who had a baby with them both. So before we go over this one, remember, I don't give you no angle. I just give you the story. So with that being said, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. We'll jump right to it. January 25th, 2020, police have responded to 11B Marriott Avenue in Westerly, Connecticut, 2 minutes before 4 p.m. Upon discovery, they found a man with an apparent gunshot wound to the chest. The victim was identified as Vincent Sebastian, 28 years old. May he rest in peace. A love of condolences to his family. The suspect was identified as Louis Sanius Jr., who, as we mentioned, were cousins. Now, 10 years prior to this incident, they both got indicted for a set of home invasions. They were sentenced to 5 years in prison. Now, when Louis Jr. was on a run for a week for the demise of his cousin, he was found in an apartment complex as he fell out the ceiling. Now, Louis was the father of 6 kids and 3 baby mothers. He worked at Foxwood casinos alongside his cousin and majority of his family. It's like everyone knew everyone. Now, weeks before Vincent, aka Vinny, had lost his life, he got into a scuffle with Louis while Louis was at his job at Foxwood Casino, where they both worked inside the caf. This incident caused both of them to get fired. Now, it seems Vincent, aka Vinny, accused his first baby mother of sleeping with his cousin, Louis Jr. On November 28, 2019, Vincent's baby mother sends the message to Louis Jr. Now, all this is via Facebook. She sent the screenshot alongside the message. Vinny A thinks we effing around. He gave me her. He trying to say I got it from you when I never effed you a day in my life. Louis Jr. responded, sorry to hear that. Well, you, me, and God know we never effed. I have a clean bill of health outside of my asthma. LOL. Days later, December 9th, 2019, Louis Jr. responded, good afternoon. I have never slept with you, and Dion have never been with Vinny. So please don't mix us up in your mess. Please, we just trying to live our life. Besides that, I hope all is well. Vincent's first baby mother responded, tell her stop sending her naked pictures to him. Take that with Vinny, not me. I'm just going by what he's telling me. Then the girl Dion that Louis Jr. mentioned is Dion's baby mother, one of them. And at that very moment was the first moment that Louis Jr. had knew that Dion was sneaking around with Vincent. And need I remind you, the day that Vincent lost his life, that was Dion's house he was in. Now, what makes this story strange is that Dion was begging for money from her baby father, Louis Jr., hours before Vincent lost his life, when Vincent Jr. showed up to Dion's house. According to court records, it only took 7 seconds for Vincent Jr., who parked down the street and was pacing back and forth on the street before entering Dion's house and shooting Vincent once in the chest. Now, without further ado, check out the family TV and Lewis Jr. mother give their side of the story. Check it out. So, this Rio with the family TV. Who do I have the pleasure of speaking with today?
Lethea Windflower Gilliam from Mashantucket, Connecticut.
From Mashantucket, Connecticut. Nice to meet you. Thank you for taking the time to speak with me today. How your day going thus far?
Blessed and highly favored.
Can you tell the audience briefly why we're here today?
To talk about my son, Louis Signius' case. It was Louis Signius versus the state of Rhode Island. He got charged with life plus 10 for the murder of his cousin, Vincent Sebastian III.
Right. And we're going to get to that. But before we lead up to the unfortunate situation, you think you could tell me how was the history of your son and you growing up in Connecticut, or is it New York?
I was born in Connecticut, raised in New York. My first two kids were born in New York. Louis and Sade were born in New York. And the rest of my children, the other 7, were born in Connecticut.
Okay.
We lived in New Haven in the beginning, but then our reservation in Connecticut, the Mashantucket tribe, we started building. We put up a bingo hall, and it started making money, so all the family started coming back to the reservation in Mashantucket. So we slowly started coming back up this way. Okay. And that's where I'm at now.
Okay. And how would you describe your son's demeanor and behavior growing up?
Oh, he was a happy-go-lucky ass kid, like most of the kids on the res at the time. I mean, you got a community that got plenty of money. We not wanting for nothing, you know what I'm saying? It's everything that seems like it's flowing. You know, you got people who never had nothing. You have people who went from a $600 welfare check to a $6,000 welfare check. Everybody happy. Kids running around. You can leave your bike outside. Nobody gonna steal it, you know. You realize you got cousins of every shade, because I got cousins that are from the palest pink to the darkest brown, black, blue. You know what I mean? So we were a beautiful community doing beautiful things.
Right. That's beautiful. And how was your relationship with your son?
It was great. He's spoiled. He's my mother's first grandchild.
Okay.
So he was spoiled. All her first was spoiled. Her first of all me and my siblings' kids was her pretty much the top, and you know. But he was a good kid, so it was no reason not to spoil him.
Wow, I can only imagine. The first kids always get spoiled the most, it seemed like.
Man, that's the story in itself, because I had my son when I was 15, I turned 16.
Wow, beautiful.
Okay, I got pregnant early in Harlem. I was in Harlem, and boy, I'm pregnant, and I was scared to tell my mother, and she was like, first she told me I wasn't going to, not going to go down. And I kept running away until I could have him. And she ended up she said, I ain't raising this boy. You raising him yourself. It's your baby. Man, I couldn't get her out his face.
That's how it seems. Ain't nothing like the grandparents' love.
Listen, my son, even when he was running around doing shady shit, that's what we go call shady shit. Because as I said before, him and Vinny both have histories.
Right, we're going to get to that.
We'll get to. But even when Louis was running around doing that, when my mother and grandmother was alive, he spent every morning, every sunrise, with his grandmother and his great-grandmother.
Wow.
He bring him a coffee. He bring him their coffee from Dunkin' Donuts and an old-fashioned donut. That's how he used to start his mornings. And it was and I'm going to be honest, because they already did the time for it, okay? They had done some crazy shit the night before. But the boy was at his grandma's house at 6 in the morning with coffee and donuts. You know, and so that's that, you know.
Right.
They wilding, they doing shit they ain't got no business doing. I'm not gonna deny that. I'm not trying to be one of the parents like, oh no, but there's circumstances to their shit, and we're gonna get to all of that eventually.
Okay. So before we really get into the details of the incident, did you notice any difference in behavior or any difference in his demeanor leading up to the incident in January of 2020?
We was laughing about the shit.
Prior to that,
we was laughing about the fact that Vinny was pretending to have this great beef with Louis, because in the beginning he was acting like it was over. My son talking about his aunts and stuff, because we have, again, we're a reservation. We have a small community, so you got to think about it. Our elected officials are our cousins.
Right.
So you may imagine walking around with your mayors and your governors every day. So you holding them accountable. So my son is holding these people accountable. And in the beginning, Vinny tried to act like he was mad how Lewis was talking to his aunts and uncles. But behind the scenes...
And hold on, just so the audience can stay with this, because I don't want us to get off track. But first and foremost, in regards to your tribe, just to give them a brief introduction and to see how big you guys are. You guys own one of the largest casinos in Connecticut?
We own one of the largest casinos in the world.
Okay.
Foxwoods Casino. We go back and forth between
Foxwoods?
Foxwoods.
Foxwoods Casino.
Yes, in Mashantucket, Connecticut. We go back and forth from being the largest. We go back and forth from Mohegan Sun, which is also a native tribe owned casino. My grandbabies. Shout out to my grandbabies. Right. I call them my little Motuckets. Mashantucket and Mohegans, Motuckets.
Okay. Hey, you learn something new every day. This is the first for me to learn it.
Oh, yeah, we are very large. We have the largest casino in Connecticut. Like I said, we go back and forth. We have a casino in Puerto Rico. We have stuff all over the place.
I might got to do a story on that and come back and get you for another interview, as long as that's cool with you.
Please do.
Okay. Will do.
Look at me.
Uh-huh.
Please do.
Okay, will do. I know my audience gonna hold me to it too. They gonna make sure they gonna tell you. Okay.
Listen, I was trying. Mashantucket got it all. They got abuse. They got crooked politicians. We got it all right here at Mashantucket. We need our own sitcom, and we ain't got to fake nothing. Right. They can just let the real show. And
okay.
So, you gotta do that.
Yeah, we're gonna hold fast. We're gonna hold fast on that one. So now, just so we clear, Vincent Sebastian is your nephew.
No.
Okay, he's not.
No, they say that he's my son's cousin.
Okay. Because
we're a tribe, and we all come from the same tribe. It's not a traditional, like, it's my sister or brother's kid. He's a Mashantucket tribal member, and we're a Mashantucket tribal member.
And grew up together?
He's a different line altogether.
Okay. And y'all grew up with each other since...
They did grow up with each other as much as they could, because they were both boys were snatched out of their community and thrown in some schools where they got abused at. They did spend their youth together.
Okay, they did.
But because of our community and things happening in our community that hopefully you'll get back to, they were both thrown in some schools that are very questionable and that were definitely known for abuse, physical, mental, and sexual abuse.
And which could possibly, dictate or have a huge impact on some of the decisions they made when they got older.
I think it has a lot of decisions on a lot of the kids around here, because if you look at the coalition between the youth my son's age and the ones that they sent to these schools like Elon out in Maine, if you do the coalition between the ones that they sent away and where those ones are at now, 9 out of 10 of them are messed up mentally, physically, emotionally, on drugs, violent crimes, stabbings, shootings, drugs. Documented, not just something I'm talking about.
Okay. Yeah, we that now.
I will not speak on nothing that's not documented.
I love that, because I'm the same way. But as we stay on track, you call, just so the audience know, when you reference Vincent, you call him Vinny.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, because it's Vincent. There's 3 in the tribe. It was Vinny. He's the 3rd, so we called him Vinny.
Okay, just so they know who is who as we talk about this. And your son is Louis Cygnus Jr.?
Cygnus, yeah.
Cygnus Jr.
Cygnus,
okay.
Yeah.
I apologize.
They don't even got it right in the court. In the court, they got an A in it.
Oh, wow. And it's a French name?
Yeah, his dad's family is French.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So, January 25th, 2020, your son was accused of shooting his cousin at point blank range, Vincent Sebastian, who was 28 years old at the time. Lewis had fled after the shooting and was on a run for a week before he was arrested in a complex in Connecticut. He was seen falling out the ceiling. Mm-hmm. You want to speak on that and where you was at when you got the phone call on that day?
Okay, so I was home. He had come and got me from New Haven the night before. there's text messages that they used in the court case that says, he was supposed to go the day before because his baby mother had been harassing him for money for a few days.
And we're gonna get to that. I'm gonna make sure we go in order. I just want to make sure
all right. So I was home when first thing I got it was on Facebook because our tribe had a bulletin out for Lewis within like 15 minutes of the cops getting to the scene of the crime. They were told it must have been Lewis, so they immediately started looking for him. So within 15 minutes of it happening, my phone was ringing, people was calling, there was Facebook messages, oh my God, say this couldn't happen. I know this MF didn't. When it's like catch him, it just went crazy all of a sudden. Everything just went crazy.
To get into detail on that night, it was that home belonged to a woman who had a baby by your son, Lewis Jr., and also at the time was pregnant with Sebastian.
But yes,
Vinny.
Yeah, we didn't know she was pregnant by Vinny at the time. Her being pregnant didn't come up until after the shooting, but yes.
So, just want to go off the facts on this day before we get to some of the details that later came out as far as the text messages prior, right?
Mm-hmm.
And the fact is, 2 other men was in that apartment as well, or they considered it a townhouse or an apartment, however you structured. Of course, the audience will be able to see the picture of the screen.
It's a single.
Right, the audience will be able to see the picture on the screen.
Yeah.
And the 2 men was friends of Vinny.
Yes.
And at the time, the girl name is Dion.
Yes.
She was messing with Vinny.
Yes.
Okay. Thoughts on that?
She had been messing with Vinny for a few weeks. Vinny's first baby mother had already informed my son, like, she's first sent him a text message saying,
So let's speak on that. Yeah, let's speak on that.
It was a screenshot.
Right.
Because she introduced it. She's the one that brought it into it. His baby mother, Janisha, who testified, she was on the stand. She's in the court documents.
Okay.
Janisha sends my son a text message. The first.
Mind you, just to give people context, we in December of 2019 at this point on the 24th and the 26th, which is literally weeks before the incident.
Yes.
Okay. And so to go into further detail, it get more personal far as talking about how Vinny allegedly gave his baby mother some STD, an STD.
Mm-hmm. She says in her messages, they're up there. There's
right.
court paperwork, he gave me herpes.
Right. Vinny believes that he got it from your son, and your son initial and first response was sorry to hear that. Well, me and you and God know we never had sexual relations. I have a clean health outside my asthma, LOL. So,
okay.
And that was November 28, 2019. The next message would come in December 9th, 2019. And your son just basically say, good afternoon. I have never slept with you and Dion, never been with Vinny. So please don't mix us up in y'all mess. Please, we trying to live our life besides that, and I hope all is well. So at that time, just weeks before the incident, your son believed that Dion didn't mess with Vinny.
He didn't. He didn't have the proof. He got everybody telling him games or whatever, but we're talking about it. You know what I mean? Because me and my kids, we sit, we chill, we smoke, we start our day together. You know what I'm saying? We end our day together. Like, I'm the kind of mom, we talk about everything. He's like, yo, mom, this is crazy, this and that. Because guess what? If he is, I know he mad. He think I slept with his baby mother. I hope she ain't falling for this.
So it seems like we're approaching a possible motive, right? But then it goes on and say immediately after, Vinny baby mother say, tell her stop sending naked pictures to him. Take that ass up with Vinny, not me. I'm just going by what he's telling me. And this, I assume, made your son go into shock because his initial response was, what pic You got proof? Because if so, we'll do. And she responded the next day, laughing my ass off, you're funny, with laughing emojis. He responded almost 2 weeks later and said, yo, I always treated you as a friend, so I hope you didn't take my post as a shot at you. Just warning the people about V. He really got issues and is a snake and think with his other head. Laughing emoji 100. And then it just goes on to talk about how they agree with each other. So before we go on into more detail.
But it ends with him telling her, because she also tells him at one point, asks him about the address Vinny's at. And he tells her, my son says, oh, that's so-and-so in Alex's house. That's another baby mother, okay? So now I know you chasing both my baby mothers.
So okay? how many kids your son have?
He has 6 daughters. He got 4 with his wife, 1 with Dion, and 1 with a chick named Alex, who is also mentioned in Janisha's messages.
So that's the Alex she's referenced to.
That's the Alex she references to. So then you see my son say, after they go back and forth for I don't know how long, like, listen, why are you worried about Vinny? I'm done with Alex. And you should be done with him too. You know what I mean? And I think he tell her, yo, the tribe got to give you a job or something. Like, you know, like, stop worrying about the dude. Go do it. He basically tell her, yo, you got to stop worrying about the dude and do what you got to do.
Right.
That's how it ends.
Right.
It don't end with, oh, I'm going to see that nigga. It ends with him telling her, yo, stop worrying about him and stop worrying about the who we fuck.
Right. So it also in these messages indicates that Vinny baby mother asks your son Lewis, did Vinny have a warrant because of an altercation at their job? Do you know any more information about that prior to the incident?
Vinny and his cousin, Vinny and his real cousin, because I know we say cousin as my son's his cousin too, but Vinny and his real cousin as his dad's sister's son, your first cousin, him and his first cousin ran up on Lewis in the cafeteria at Foxwoods while Lewis was on his lunch break. Lewis is at the grill. When you're on lunch break, you come in the casino, you grab your tray, you grab your utensils, whatever you might be getting from the side, and if you want something from the grill, that's where you go. Lewis is standing at the grill waiting for an egg sandwich or something, and Vinny roll up on him and his cousin, hyped, walks away, goes back to his office. When he gets back to his office, Vinny and Keith follow him. When he gets back to the transportation department, his boss sees Vinny and Dwayne, sees Vinny and Keith, and he's like, hey, y'all can't be here. Oh, we're tribal. We can be wherever we want to be. The supervisor said, you can't be here, and he called tribal police. No, he called security. Secure, which, by the way, disappeared when my son's lawyer was trying to get it. Poof, gone. And whose family is over surveillance at Foxwoods? I'm going to let you guess. Who family over surveillance at Foxwoods?
Vinny's?
Yeah, you're a smart man. Okay? That shit just poof, disappeared from my son's trial. Okay? 2 days later, man who walked away from the altercation get fired. Oh, because you had a knife on you. You being a butter knife and fork that you get when you walk into the cafeteria when you about to get food? Because there are no sharp knives in the cafeteria. You got to cut your bagel at the bagel slicer. You got to cut your bread at the slicer. Ain't no taking no knife. Ain't no steak knives, like I said before, because ain't no steaks being served in the employee cafeteria. So what knife I had? This butter knife that I had in my hand when he rolled up on me. And if y'all gave up the footage, y'all would see that. But that footage disappeared, though.
So before we really go, and that's what.
And then you see more messages afterwards with her saying, oh, watch your back, because Vinny saying you got him fired. So more messages with them saying, Vinny hunting your ass down.
And this is what, 3-4 weeks before the incident?
A couple of weeks before, yeah.
And so before we go into detail more about the incident on what Dion was doing, according to her testimony, and also other witnesses on the day.
Her testimony that changed 4 or 5 times.
Right, we're going to get to that. But 10 years prior to 2020, they were sentenced. They had did a burglary. Home evasion. Mm-hmm. With Lewis and Vinny, as well as other Dwayne. Family members, according to the news.
Vinny's brother, Dwayne.
Okay.
He got arrested last. They didn't know it was him for a minute. It took him a minute to figure it out.
And they were sentenced
who it was, but
to 5 years in
Vinny-
prison in 2014.
Yep.
If you can, you want to speak a little
And
bit
while they
about
was in jail, guess who was helping Vinny out? Me. Because my son was saying, Mom, Vinny's having a hard time. Vinny, can you put money on, help his girl, whatever. That was me. His family that cared so much about him being killed, what was y'all out when that boy was in jail? Y'all support y'all family members who are like on youth council and stuff. But the ones who in the street doing stuff, y'all, they ain't have no love for that boy.
But that shows how close they was to be able to feel like they can do alleged dirt together.
Like that video, that's them before the home invasion, actually. Because that apartment they did that video in that I sent you is a couple of weeks before the home invasion, and then the lady wouldn't renew my lease after that because the way they came and got them was so crazy that the lady didn't even want to rent to me no more.
Wow.
Yep, they came and got me They came and got them from downtown Norwich.
Wow. And the home invasions happened in Montville?
Ledger and Montville. Like, they had multiple cases together.
Wow. And that's in Connecticut.
And then Vinny did a little bit more time because he already had a case pending with him robbing a cab driver. So he did a little bit more time than Lewis. So Lewis came home before he came home.
Okay. And then 10 years later, all this happened.
Yes.
So, the night of the incident, right? Officers said they responded at around 3:58 p.m. to 11B Marriott Avenue, right? To find a man with an apparent gunshot wound to his chest. According to surveillance footage on the day of the trial, it's in 7 seconds. Your son Lewis was seen getting into an altercation at the doorway.
You don't see an altercation.
You don't see an altercation, but you do see him fall backwards on the floor.
You see him open the door, you see him step in, you see him fall back out 7 seconds later.
7 seconds later. But the question is
the boy
this.
that's sitting inside.
And we're going to get to that. Now, this is where everything gets fuzzy and the reason why you really wanted to speak out, I'm assuming, right? In those 7 seconds, you don't see a firearm. According to the trial, was a firearm even recovered? Because I'm not mistaken, as I looked, the firearm wasn't recovered.
No firearm recovered.
So then we get to the issue of the intention.
And I know people are going to say, well, he got away. He was running for...
Right, so I'm going to get into a few details. So according to trial, some details that went against your son was the fact that he parked down the street.
Mm-hmm.
And he was
something that he had done before.
And he was pacing back and forth prior to approaching that house. Statement on that. You said he'd do that. He parked down the street before.
He's parked down the street before. That wasn't nothing odd to me to hear that he parked down the street.
So what comes to your mind when you hear that he was pacing back and forth?
That he knew something wasn't right.
Okay.
We are strong energy people.
Okay.
Gut. And I wish that he would have went with his gut.
And so let's make sure we get something clear on why he went there, right? Even though he was pacing back and forth, you can have ill intentions. But we do want to note this. During the trial, text messages was exposed as well that I have as far as the communication that his baby mother was asking for money within 24 hours. Prior, days, but especially within 24 hours. And one of the things that was questioned was the quote he made in reference to NyQuil. When he told his and this is Dion, who is a person who's at her house right now at that moment with Vinny, right? He texts Dion, I'm feeling sick. You got some NyQuil.
Mm-hmm.
Right. What did Dion say that meant?
She testified that was his way of asking for some booty.
Okay.
So if a man texted you asking for some booty.
And honestly, this is within the 24-hour time frame of the incident.
Yeah.
And the thing is this.
I don't believe he was asking her for no booty.
Right. Okay.
Because at this point, we already knew that she had herpes.
And he made that clear, right?
Because his baby mother already told him about the herpes thing. We already know that you've been at your. He got a cousin who was living with Lewis's baby mother. Vinny's cousin was living with Alex, Lewis's baby mother. It was speculations on her and Vinny's relationship. Never been, no substance came up. We don't know if it was or wasn't. We just know that he was hanging there hard. Was he doing it just to try to bait Lewis in? I don't know. That didn't kind of work. So when that didn't work, when he didn't bait Lewis in over at the first baby mama house, now he heads over to the second baby mama house, and that's when all this started coming in. Now she's texting him about the second baby mama.
And it also shows that she tried to get in contact with him by calling him, and he didn't answer.
Yes, they said it. They said in the trial that 20-something second phone call that you see that they had before the missed call. They're saying that that's the argument that him and Vinny had that made him run from Connecticut to Rhode Island to shoot Vinny.
And I'll make sure the audience see that it's 28 seconds, right?
They saying that 28 seconds is the argument that him and Vinny had that made Lewis so infuriated.
But if that was the case,
to Rhode Island to shoot Vinny.
Okay, but I do see another call that was missed from Dion's account 30 minutes later. Okay, so now we headed to the prosecutor saying that's what made.
Now, wait a minute, hold on. Now, that message is that 28-second message, that be phone call, that takes place at her friend's house. Okay, her friend, that lives. She testified 8 minutes away, but she got there in less than 5. Okay,
and we're gonna get to that because she ended up being the one who called the police.
Party. They were having a birthday party, and they said that Vinny and Dion was arguing at a kid's birthday party. And they told them, y'all got to take that somewhere else. So her and Vinny went in the bathroom. And that's where this alleged argument between him and Vinny has supposed to took place. But Lou's like, he never fucking exchanged words with this motherfucker. He talked to her last, telling him again, are you bringing some more money? Are you bringing the money?
So they was at a birthday party prior to going to the house.
Yes. And
okay. And so which explains.
The boy who did stay to testify.
Mm-hmm.
Abe Judah or something. Abe something. Abe testified. He was a little confused because when Vinny called him, he said he called him because he had beef that dudes was getting ready to try to jump him. And that's what he got picked up for. So he was a little confused that he got picked up, but then they stopped at a kid's party. But they didn't stay long. Then they went back to her house. That's
what I wanted to ask you, right? Now, when we get to the incident, so all this is happening event after event. This is all within the same day at this point. This is on the 25th of January of 2020.
Yeah.
Now, is her spot a spot where men normally chill at? Because this is where I want to make sure I'm in detail, especially giving it to the audience as they make their decision. Because we mentioned that it was 2 more men inside the home.
Yes.
That was friends of Vinny.
It's Abe who testified. Abe testified on the stand that he was called by Vinny because Vinny told him that niggas was trying to jump him. Okay? He said they also picked up their boy Jason. Okay? They stopped at the party. They ain't stay there long. Dion ends up taking her kids and Vinny and Abe and Jason back to her house. When they get back to her house, all the men get out the car. The kids get out the car. Dion is instructed to make a liquor store run. She does that and then goes and gets her homegirl, whose car she has, because it's not her car. She's borrowing a car. Okay? The girl who carred is also testified that Dion was drunk, had a drink in her hand when she took it. Her father was even upset that you let your drunk friend take your car. Her father was, she said, in her testimony, she testified, my father was a little upset that I let my friend, who obviously had been drinking, take my car. But I said, Dad, she's only going down the block. Because again, they live so close to each other. Okay? So he said they leave, they get dropped off. He said they're sitting in the house, they got music playing on the TV from like a music channel. It's kind of dimly lit. Okay. Vinny's sitting on the steps.
Waiting.
Vinny's sitting on the steps. He didn't say waiting. He said Vinny's sitting on the steps. He said somebody stopped by, gave Jason something. He couldn't testify to who it was and what they dropped off. But Jason sat back down and put something away. Okay? Jason is pretty much the one that's closest to the door. He's kind of across the room from the door. But the room ain't that damn big. You know what I mean? So, and where Vinny's sitting, how her house is set up, when you open the door, you're blocking the steps. Okay? So if you're sitting behind the steps, you're sitting on the steps, when someone opens the door, you're caught behind the stairway. But they said that's where Vinny was sitting. He said somebody walked in, they had a coat on, it had some fur on it. He ain't hear pretty much nothing. He was texting. He went back, and then before he realized what happened, when she screamed and yelled it. Wait a minute. But she said, well, the first time she said it must have been Lewis. The second time she said he came in and he said, where that nigga Vinny? The third time it was he bust the door open, he waved the gun, and he said, where that nigga Vinny at? You not gonna remember that the first time the police talked to you? You don't remember your baby daddy busting in your door, waving a gun, saying, where that nigga Vinny at? You don't remember that the first time? It took you 3 years to remember that?
But all that is kind of worried because according to the Ring door camera from the neighbor, your son only had 7 seconds.
The little girl across the street who testified said that, now, you're my TV, I'm facing my screen. She said she lives across the cul-de-sac. She said
so they lived in the cul-de-sac area. That was a cul-de-sac area.
It's a cul-de-sac.
Okay.
The little girl across from her, which happens to be Dion's friend's daughter, she's in the cul-de-sac across from her. She says she's playing her video game. She hears the screen door slam. Everybody knows Dion's door because it's been slamming. That made her look over. When she looked over, she seen Lewis and Vinny fighting, and then Lewis fall out the door. When Lewis's lawyer questioned her about, because he shows a picture from the cul-de-sac, and there's trees between them. But there is a little peak, almost like, a tuxedo shirt showing through. But she is 13 at the time. She said, oh, well, I had to lift my seat up on my stool. You played your game, put your remote down, lift your seat up, and saw Lewis and Vinny fighting and falling out all in 7 seconds. But the boy that's inside the apartment didn't see Lewis and Vinny fighting? He didn't testify to no scuffle. But the person across the street seen a scuffle? Make it make sense to me. Make Dion's story where she was standing in the kitchen, because her kitchen is kind of like an open doorway. So when you walk in, it's some living room space, and then it's the kitchen. She's in the kitchen. She heard the door. She turned around. It was a bang. Oh, it must have been Lewis. I was on the phone. I got nervous. I ran away. Her story changes too many times. I can't keep up with it. You got to get her shit. Because I don't want to be the one lying. She could mess around, have me lying, trying to keep up with all her lies. But I can tell you her story changed 3, 4, maybe more times. That's one of the reasons we were upset with Lewis's lawyer, because he didn't use vital information, because Lewis in the beginning had a public defender. But and I always call them public pretenders. That's my thing. I always say public pretenders. But this man told me, he was like, he was going to prove to me that he was about his business, and he believed my son. He said, because let me tell you, everybody's story has been changing throughout the years but Lewis's. And he believed in Lewis. Okay? And he said, I'm going to work this case to the best of my ability until you tell me who to hand it over to. You know what I mean? So he hired a private investigator who she told a whole nother story to. But Lewis's lawyer didn't use that evidence. He also didn't use most of the messages going back and forth when Lewis telling this girl, you'll stop worrying about Vinny and all that. Talking about he didn't want to confuse the jurors because of their ages and shit. Confuse them, let them figure it out. Because that speaks to his demeanor and his head.
That's right. That's right. That's right.
Because if you read in Texas and you look like, I don't go together. He already know. is a picture of the picture of them standing together and Vinny talking 28 seconds worth of shit, go make him grab a gun and run over there? No. He been at telling them if you want to fear one, cause we can fight.
And so,
how come every time Vinny running up on my son, it was him and somebody else?
And so you feel that. So first, before I ask you that question, hold on. Yeah, before I ask you that question, now
stuff together because
we went over the night of the 20th.
How does a whole person disappear from investigation, and you're just okay with that? Because Jason, the other person that was in the house, just disappeared. And they want us to believe that he's not guilty of anything but being a bad friend for not sticking around. Huh? Your boy just got shot in his chest. This is not only your friend, but your stepbrother. That's how they know each other. His moms and your dad, you used to live in the house together. So that's your brother. Man, you ain't parole threatening to lock me up for being around because me and my brother both parolees, and they might lock me up. It's not gonna make me run from my dead brother, my dying brother's side.
Right. Okay.
When that woman her friend because again, baby mother never called the cops.
Sure.
Okay?
Sure.
She said she was on the phone with Vinny's aunt. Okay? And she said to the girl, Lord, it must have been she was like, what happened? He shot in my house. It was the conversation was confusing that bet, she said.
And so
after she gets off the phone with Nafisa, she ends up on the phone with her friend who lived down the street. Why you ain't call 911?
So who called 911?
The girl from down the street got in her car and she testified she lived about 8 minutes away because she got there in less than 5. You get a phone call, oh my God, Vinny's been shot. You got kids. You got to tell the people who you there. You got a kid. You finished up your kid's birthday party. You can't just run out the door, right? So that's at least a minute. Oh my God, Dion just had a trauma. I got to go over there. Somebody watch the kids. She got in a car. She drove the 8-minute ride, she said, in 5 minutes. She said when she got there and she walked in the house, Dion and the 2 gentlemen were sitting in the living room in a huddle. She asked, where's Vinny? And Dion and one of the gentlemen pointed upstairs. She ran upstairs. One of the boys came up after her, and then she dialed 911. She's the person on the 911 call. When the ambulance people get there, she's the person that's in the room. Now, Jason has disappeared from the scene entirely, and Dion and Abe have changed the story for the police on who was there.
Vinny was upstairs?
I asked you, he made it back upstairs.
Oh, okay. So, and you said, I remember early in the video, you said that when you open the door, you blocked the doorway. So how did
you block the stairs?
So they're assuming that he reached around the door and just shot?
Yes.
Okay.
So you assume that? Okay, but first of all, she said he stepped into the living room. So did he step into the living room or did he reach around the door? Because you don't got to step into you either you reaching around or you in the apartment. She said he was in the apartment. She said he was about here. That's in the apartment. But you don't see that a lot on the Ring doorbell in that 7 seconds. You see the door open, you hear the thing scream, you see the door open, you hear a pop, and you see Lewis fall out. He falls out, you see both his hands. Now, you know they did the best they could with that Ring doorbell now. You know they could. Because they used it. The prosecutor used it for themselves. Okay? You got both of his hands. Where's the gun? Because if I fall out the door and I just shot somebody, I'm either falling with the gun,
and
y'all gonna see it flying off, and I gotta go get it, right? Or I gotta run off and I gotta leave it, and y'all gotta find it when y'all get there. Or when I shot him around the door, I dropped it in there, which means it should still be there, because if I shot him, y'all want the police to catch me, and y'all gonna make sure that gun is where the fuck it was when he dropped it. You gonna make, y'all not gonna move the evidence if you not part of the problem. But if this woman testified that she walked into the door and y'all three was sitting here in the living room while this man was upstairs dying, that don't seem a little odd to you? And then by the time the ambulance get there, now the 2 guys have turned into 1 guy. And then when the police asked you who was there, it went from being me, Vinny, Jason, and Abe to just me, Vinny, and Abe and the kids. Oh, Jason threatened. Well, when did y'all decide this? Oh, when y'all was huddled up, sitting there, coming up with this story of what the fuck happened to Vinny? Because I don't care. Somebody I love gets shot, I'm there. You shot go kick in, you're not doing nothing.
Right.
Or you running to their side. You're not sitting there in the huddle talking to two. You just, and the girl walk in and she said, "Where Vinny?" And y'all said, y'all wasn't too shocked to point up to where he was. Y'all ain't too shocked to answer her question. She said she walked in, y'all was sitting there. What was y'all talking about?
Tell me something. Your son didn't get caught for a week later. By any chance, did he communicate to you?
He ran just like Jason.
He
ran just like Jason. He ran just like the other felon convicted, dirty record having other person that was there.
Right.
He ran.
So did he communicate with you at any point during that time? I know as a worried mother, you want to communicate, at least talk to your son, even
in the
if
beginning, he called me when I first, like, "Ma, that's not what happened, yo. Niggas, yo. I walked into some niggas." But it was short. Of course, he can't give me details.
Right.
He's just like, "Yo, Ma, I walked into some bullshit. I don't even fucking know." Like, you know. And it didn't help him that his dumbass wrote his wife a letter, basically telling his wife like he walked into a setup. Like, "Yo, I was like, baby, forgive me, because I know I wasn't supposed to be there." If basically saying I wasn't supposed to be in the first place, and if I was doing what the fuck I was supposed to do as a husband, if I'd have kept my word to you, I wouldn't have been there, and this would never have happened. You know, he wrote his wife this long ass letter, which they ended up using against him because that proves you was there or whatever. But it doesn't say I shot him. It says I walked into, I think they didn't into the house, and it was 3 Vinny and his boys waiting or something like that. In the letter, I'm gonna try to find that letter for you too. But so that didn't help. He thought he was gonna be able to slide that to his wife, but like I said, both these boys. Neither one of them. I wouldn't want to see none of them dead. But something tells me that no matter what, one of them boys was going to be dead or severely hurt. I don't think that they meant my son no good. I think that they meant my son harm, and it just didn't work out the way that they thought it was going to work out. I honestly think that the boy Abe, who testified, didn't know what was going to happen. I think he was there for the fight. Like, they was going to fight. You know, he was like, because he was like, they said niggas was going to jump on me. You know, so I think he was there genuinely for, like, to scrap. And that, I think, honestly, that Jason's the one that took it somewhere else. Because the angle where they said that he shot is upwards. You know what I mean? And if y'all saying Lewis bust open the door or whatever, where Jason was sitting goes great with the angle of. But guess what? The police didn't process the house properly. They didn't do any gun residue in the area where they claim all this happened. You're saying all this happened at the front door. But y'all didn't fingerprint the front door and the back of the door. Y'all didn't do the gunshot residue stuff for the front of the door and the back of the door and the banisters. Y'all didn't even do Vinny's hands. And of course y'all didn't do the people that was their hands to exclude them. Because y'all immediately went with it had to be Lewis. So you didn't do what do they call it, the GSR test, or nobody that was in the house. I got a problem with that.
So recently your son was sentenced to life plus 10 years. What was going through your head?
I couldn't believe it. Because I sat in that court every day and I watched the bull. I watched this girl change her story and tell so many lies. Down to the simplest things that she didn't know they was cousins. Dion is 20-something years old. She's older than Louis and Vinny. Okay? She actually came to this reservation through my baby sister. All right? We know her from New Haven. Her mom and my sister was running the streets together. My sister was tired of, always seeing Dion getting left in the house as a baby when you got a parent that's with addiction problems and stuff. So my sister kind of took Dion under her wing, kind of made her little goddaughter. And that's how Dion even started coming on this reservation. This community is too small for you to not know that's his cousin. Not to mention there's pictures of all of them together years before this.
So you saying that Dion knew, but she acted as though she didn't know they was cousins?
She testified that she didn't know they was cousins. She acted like who you act. You can only be acting like that for them jurors, because them jurors, the only ones who know who gonna believe that shit. Because everybody in this community know better.
So why would they have a conversation? I mean, argument if that wasn't the case. So
why was the jurors not allowed to take notes for the first whole half of the trial?
So
Dion, the judge didn't allow the jurors to take any notes. Now you're dealing with people that's got different stories and all this, and they ask you. The jurors is telling you, like, this is a little confusing. I'm hearing contradicting information. It would be great if I could take notes. The judge saying no. But then towards the later half of the trial, okay, well I decided to let them take notes now. Huh? Well, they missed out on all the good shit.
That's crazy. So I have to ask you a question. It is confirmed that Dion ended up having a baby by both.
Mm-hmm.
Lewis.
It's not her first time having, and let me add, it's not her first time having kids with cousins. They said her two oldest kids, they daddies is cousins too. We just found that out after all of this. Somebody came like, yeah, that's what she do. That's what she like. That's what she do. What you mean that's what she do?
We've been here long enough, and I think we got enough for the audience to make a conclusion, because you can tell there's some conflicting answers. But I do want to ask this one last question.
Because really, if you're seeing it 7 seconds, and the prosecution, you really had 5 main witnesses. You had his aunt who was on the phone.
Mm-hmm.
You had Dion that was there in the house.
Mm-hmm.
You had Abe that was in the house.
Mm-hmm.
You had the little girl that was across the street.
Mm-hmm.
And you have the friend that was arrived, okay? Take the friend that arrived out, and let's just deal with the first 7 seconds, where Dion, first, he just walked in, and I didn't know who it was. Then he walked in, he said, where's that nigga Vinny? Then he walked in, and he waved the gun, and he said, where's that nigga Vinny? It took you 3 years to get to that. If my baby daddy busted my house, then I'm going to remember him walking in, waving the gun. Maybe not what he heard with exactly the words he said, but you could be like, yo, he waiting, you know what I mean? So that's what she said. The boy who was sitting in the living room, he said, yep, somebody came in. Because we had the music going, I didn't even realize what was going on. I was texting my girl and stuff. He trying to make up with his girl. He kind of texting and stuff. And he looked up, it was a guy there that had a coat on. He wasn't sure if it was a guy who came earlier to drop off something to Jason. He wasn't sure, so he went back to what he's doing before he really realized what happened.
Right.
Okay. Then you got the little girl across the street saying, yep, I heard the door, I seen a scuffle, and then Lewis fell. This is 3 different stories in 7 seconds. Make it all work. Make it come together for me. Make it come together for me.
And to kind of add gas to fire, it's unfortunate because at the conclusion of this trial, based on the appearance of a shirt you wore, it caused conflict inside you guys' tribe.
I know they caused no conflict. It was real easy. They banished my bond. I have gotten booted from they call it banished.
So you sent me a picture. I'm going to showcase the picture, but I want you to say without cursing what was on this shirt.
Oh, without cursing. Dear son, F that, dog effing, sister raping, girlfriend collarbone breaking, pizza.
And
love mom, P.S. F all y'all too. Disrespectfully, Alethea.
And you wore this on, all this is on the front of the shirt?
Yes.
Wow. Okay. Do you still approve that message, or wish you didn't go about it that way?
No, I still approve my message.
Okay.
Because you know what? I'm not lying. That's first of all. Him and his brother got teased on the res for years. And it's even one of the messages I sent you, Mother. Like, don't make me put you on blast for effing that dog. So, yeah, ask the community, and they'll tell you I'm telling the truth. There's also, I sent you the message where my son's telling the brother, don't make me put you on blast. Your sister told me. Because the sister told us. It's not something that we pull from the sky. Okay? My daughter was unfortunately attacked by a tribal member, and it kind of opened Pandora's box, sort of. So we started getting all these stories of, I was attacked by so-and-so, and I was attacked by so-and-so. So his sister told us that she was attacked by them. So, you did do that. The collarbone breaking, he broke 2 of his baby mother and a girlfriend. That must be a signature move. So that's documented. So tell me where I'm lying. I mean, I sat for 2 years quiet because, the courts got shut down through COVID. It was crazy. So this case sat all that time. And all that time, they harassed my family. They jumped my brother. My daughter almost got hit by a car. They was getting stuff thrown out windows onto our car. Like, it was crazy. We just dealt with it. We just took it. We just sat quietly. But afterwards, because I just knew that justice was going to be served. But after it wasn't, I was like, all right, all bars over. Then I sat here. Even after that, I did this. I wore the shirt to court. And judge seen it. Prosecutor could see. Everybody seen it because I wore my shirt. Okay? Next thing I know, is a emergency meeting with the elders. Within 24 hours of me wearing my shirt, I was banished. They haven't even banished child molesters and rapists that fast. They didn't banish people who got murder charges that fast, okay? I got banished quicker than people who have sexual charges and murder cases. I got banished. They didn't even have emergency meetings for Lewis and them's banishment. Y'all called it an emergency meeting because of my t-shirt. Said that I was hurting. I was bringing up the trauma to the people. But what about my trauma? What about my family trauma? This boy, the brother, Dwayne, he's dropped 2 songs. I sent you one. I'm trying to find the other one where he be like, F Alethea, F Jamal, F Lewis, F them all. I'm trying to find that one, but I think his family told him to take that one down. But I did send you the one where he talking about, I heard your pacemaker ain't working for you. Because, I had an incident where my pacemaker, my defibrillator hit me almost 100 times. Saved my life, stupid. For the record, with his dumb ass. You don't even know how a pacemaker works. Pacemaker did his job, dummy. So that's why I'm here today. Because of my pacemaker / defibrillator. You know what I mean? Right. I have the LVAD now, but I'm here. He done wrote a whole song about me. They ain't say nothing. They ain't banish him but from nothing but events. He can't go play bingo. Me, on the other hand, I put on a t-shirt and I can't get my disability money anymore. I can't get any financial assistance from my tribe anymore. I can't even go visit my mama, grandmama, and son's grave anymore. Okay, because I'm banished from all property that Mashantucket's own. So I can't even go sit on my grandmother's grave, smoke a J right now. Okay, which is something that me and my sisters do quite often. I can't even do that because technically that's trespassing for me right now. Okay, I am a 51-year-old LVAD having, I got a battery, literally a battery. See this? A battery. This comes out of me. It's a wire. Okay? I want you to see this. Because I'm a danger to the community. This is why they banished me. They said I'm a danger to the community. This is what keeps me alive. Can you see that?
Yes, that's mine.
These batteries? This machine is going up into me, and these batteries is pumping my heart. Okay? I'm a danger to the community. You snatch these wires out of me, I'm done. How much of a danger am I? Huh? This is keeping me alive. You hear that?
Yeah, put it back on, please. please.
But I'm a danger to the community. Please. So much so that you would risk me losing my house because you take my finances from me. I'm handicapped. My husband's handicapped. He has polycystic kidney disease. So you take my income from me because you mad about my t-shirt? Y'all that petty? Because it ain't about your nephew, boo. It ain't about the t-shirt. Y'all mad. Over a year now I've been banished. Everybody was like, well, you can go back to me a year later. For what? My stance hasn't changed.
You know what? I appreciate you. We're gonna end this one right here. This one is deep. We gave the audience far too. We gave them a lot. We gave them a lot to look at.
We gave him a lot.
And
it's still a lot, because I'm telling you, if we could get, I was trying to get this kid. Like I told you, his lawyer did us dirty.
Right.
He took. We paid this man $30,000. We paid this man $30,000. I think towards the end, it was like the last $2,500 I was struggling to get, and I don't know if he was like he just had the fuckers at that time. I would hope, but all the money he was getting, my last $2,500 didn't give him the efforts, but. It was a lot of things that he just didn't do, and now I'm trying to contact him like, yo, I need the copies of this court stuff. He's not even answering me. Like, I guess because I owe you a couple of hours, you ain't giving me nothing.
right.
So now we are dependent on a public defender. But even she said that Lewis's last public defender, because this is how much is being believed in Lewis. He believed in Lewis so much, he told the new public defender, listen, this guy is a good guy. And everybody's story changed 2, 3, 4 times, but Lewis's. Go talk to him. And she wouldn't talk to my son. And then she came back. She said, I just wanted to come back and let you know that people believe in you.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I believe in my son, and it's a lot of us that do, and I'm not going to stop talking about it, and the rest be bad. They can keep me banished. I pay my bills the best way I can. Ain't nobody
right.
do what I got to do at the end of the day.
Right.
But to have people have so much power to be able to use it like that is crazy. That's why I said you need to definitely circle back around.
Yeah, and I am to do that story, and I'm gonna call you for it. I'm gonna definitely get your insight, and I appreciate it. And on the behalf of the Family TV, man, we really appreciate you taking the time.